I guess you know what these are. Seen them on telly and when you're out and about in the countryside. But do you know what we can use cows for? I bet we all know this comes from cows. But did you know what you see here also comes from cows? And all this great looking cheese. I think it's time we go and meet the cows that make all this possible. These here are dairy cows. Phew, it's cold today. You may wonder why you don't see animals when you're driving around the countryside on days like this. Well, it's pretty obvious really. They're all tucked up in bed. In the colder months, cows live in barns. Time for dinner! In the winter, cows eat a food called silage. You've heard of pickled onions. Well, this is a bit like pickled grass, and they love it. But during the summer, they'll happily munch away on grass all day. I need to talk to a dairy farmer to find out more. Time to meet Emily.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
Welcome to our farm. We're a small, traditional, mixed dairy and arable farm in North Norfolk, and I understand you'd like to have a look around.
Yeah.
Should we go?
Yeah, thanks.
Excellent.
Did you know there are loads of different types of cows?
Okay, so one of the unique things we're doing here at Church Farm is crossbreeding. Traditionally, dairy cows in the UK are Holstein Friesian, so black and white cows. You're very used to seeing them on dairy farms. They don't produce a particularly good beef calf, so we've tried to avoid the problem by crossbreeding with brown Swiss animals and also Swedish red animals. So all the female calves that are born generally join the milking herds, but all the male calves have to be sold off to be fattened for beef.
Right, did you get that then? It's the female cows, where that milk we saw in the supermarket comes from. And this is how the milk is taken from the cow. Twice a day, the cows come in here to the milking parlour and are attached to this machine that very gently squeezes the milk from the udder. It doesn't hurt at all. To make sure the milk is safe for us humans, it is pumped into these vats where it is heated to a high temperature, usually 72 degrees centigrade, for about 15 to 20 seconds. Then it's chilled back to 2 to 3 degrees centigrade. This process is called pasteurisation. The milk is pumped into the bottles, here. It's so clever, it knows exactly how much milk each bottle must have. Into the crates and off to the shops. As Wallace and Gromit know, you also get cheese from milk. Let's catch up with Mrs. Temple to see how it's done.
In the morning, the milk comes over from the milking parlour on a forklift truck, and it goes into this machine, which is the pasteuriser. The idea of pasteurisation is to heat the milk briefly above 72 degrees centigrade, because that kills the bacteria that would be dangerous to you. We then pump the milk into these vats, and we add good bacteria that we want to be in the cheese. Good bacteria that give the cheese its natural acidity, which is its preservative, and its flavour. We also add rennet, which makes it set, just like jelly. After a while, we cut the jelly into cubes to allow it to separate out into curds and whey. And you can see how this now is semi-solid. It has a jelly, it's wobbling, but it's still quite delicate. So with the cheese milling process, what we're doing is breaking these blocks of cheese down into small particles so we can mix the salt in. And making cheese is a way of preserving milk, and we do that by pickling it, because the good bacteria make acid which preserves it, and then after we've cut it into small particles, we mix a small amount of salt in, which also frightens off the bad bacteria. So we started off with liquid milk, and you saw us change it into first soft curds, then harder curds. We've packed it in the moulds, and now we've actually removed about 80% of the moisture, But just to finish it off and make it a nice smooth texture, we're loading them into the press, and we'll press them in there for 2 days to get them really hard and dry, and then they go off into the storerooms where they mature for, well, it's really good if you keep it for 14 months.
Remember that yoghurt we saw in the supermarket? Well, that is also produced on a farm. Just like with cheese, good bacteria is added to the milk. And to get all those great flavours, a fruit compote, a little like jam, is added. Mixed well with the plain yoghurt, and then, through this machine, it's measured accurately into the yoghurt pots ready to eat. One of my favourites, butter. As you can see here, back at Emily's farm, they are using their cow's milk to make this delicious creamy butter. All they do here is churn or shake the cream that has been taken from the milk. Eventually it goes hard. They weigh out an exact amount that is beaten into shape. Then the butter is wrapped in paper and is ready to go off to the shops.